Hello and welcome back, YouTube. It's Saturday morning, July 1st, 10:27 a.m. and I'm walking back from Priscilla's place to my place to get my car. And I think our agenda for today is running some errands. I got a feeling I'm playing her chauffeur, so hopefully that doesn't end up being too frustrating of an experience. She said she put gas in my car, so that's worth something. I seem to have a dog on the other side of that fence. Kind of excited. Oh, and by the way, I was just standing in a random shady place because the sunlight is so bright out here. I couldn't see enough until I got over there to get my damn phone camera turned on, because it's the sunshine. The sunshine here in the summertime is just so bright, it's almost impossible to see a smartphone screen, at least any of my smartphone screens, without getting into some kind of shade. So I'm at the corner of 42nd Street and Monte Vista Road, which is designated as the Rancho Ventura neighborhood. These houses along this street have extra large backyards. And I'm thinking this is the street where the fire happened. I should say fires happened yesterday. There were two of them. I'm not 100% sure. I'm just going by like the news footage that I saw on Channel 10 yesterday afternoon, which I saw quite a bit of. It just seemed like they never quite panned out enough for me to really look at it overhead and see it as a map. But I did see some other video that Priscilla showed me that one of our mutual friends' fathers had posted video he shot, and he also lives, nearby in the neighborhood here, and in the video he posted, and I asked her, it's like, what angle is that at? And he said that was standing in his front yard looking directly across the street, which would be on the other side of 40th Street, looking towards this side of 40th Street. So kind of places it around here. This is one of the few streets in this neighborhood that I don't want to say that I've never gone down this street, because most likely, I smell fire. Most likely I have gone down the street at one point or another. Oh yeah, there's one of them. Yeah, one of them was here. Shit, my phone is ringing. I'll be back with more footage, but yeah, definitely one of them is there. I can see a burned out RV over there. Anyway, I'll be back with more footage of fire aftermath. Yeah, it's perfectly normal, right? It's stuff like that make people frustrated with the homeless population. You got some guy with a bicycle right there and a big old suitcase. He's directly in front of somebody's house, and he's just digging through their garbage can. Like that's somewhere he should be. At this point, he's literally trespassing in front of their house. He has no business to stop there in front of their house. A big old suitcase, a girl's bicycle. That's a female's bicycle. And he's just digging away, completely oblivious to the fact I'm here across the street. Just digging in the dumpster. And what you can see is a neighborhood that's filled with very, very nice houses. Of course, it's got two less houses in it, thanks to yesterday's fire. In the video I was watching, and sorry I didn't get video of the other house. I was on the phone when I walked by it, and I just didn't feel like backtracking because it's already pretty hot out today. But yeah, both. Looks like all the fires occurred down Monte Vista. And there hasn't been any news regarding the source of the fires and what caused it. But I highly suspect it's a result of homeless people squatting. I mean, I could be wrong, and I genuinely hope I am wrong. But I mean, you see that guy's still there, just digging in the dumpster with his bicycle and his suitcase right in front of it. And there's no point in trying to call the police, you know. Calling 911 is a abuse of emergency services, because that's not an emergency. It's just some deadbeat trespassing in front of somebody's house, digging in their trash. A lot of this going on in this neighborhood. I forget exactly what the house was like that used to be on that property, but it's been razed and the spot is empty. The old mailbox and the mailbox post were kept. That's adorable. And some of the more mature trees in the front. But other than that, you can see there's been some digging. So somebody's already purchased the property, and they're probably getting ready to put a house there. And there's a property that's got the irrigation going on. They got the irrigation functioning. This whole neighborhood's still set up for flood irrigation, which honestly I think is a good thing. There's a lot of people that like to vilify flood irrigation as a waste of water, but the irrigation, the water that runs through the underground canals, which are, you know, the SRP underground canals, which are used for the irrigation. And there you can see another one of the fixtures where the irrigation water bubbles up, and there's another one right there. That water, I'm pretty sure, is all what's considered brown water, which is not drinkable water. This network of underground canals most of which used to be above ground at one time, when this area was all agricultural fields. That's why some of the houses you can see here are, you can tell from the architecture, like that one there, you can tell they're way older than the rest of the neighborhood. And this area started as farmland. It's all fields here. A lot of citrus used to be grown here. And the canals, provided the water for it, because without irrigation, this is just straight up desert here. And anyway, there's another one of the canal fixtures where those levers that stick out are part of what controls it. But yeah, the water actually, not only does it, help keep mature trees in this area and keep this area very green, but when the water soaks through the ground, it goes back into the water table, which helps filter it. I don't know why this guy in the Hyundai is stopped. He doesn't have a stop sign. Possible he was stopping so I could cross, since I'm at an unmarked crosswalk. I guess I should consider that, huh? But I wasn't making any moves to cross the street. I guess it looked like I might have been. I just wanted to come over here and get this view. And I'm going to see if I can find it and link it. But Fox 10, the news anchor, was standing right in front of that house yesterday. And when she was saying, well, I'm near 40th, blah, 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 reporting for Fox 10, I'm near 40th Street and McDowell, and as I said yesterday, she was most definitely at the corner of 42nd Street and Oak. And when the cameras went to her, they panned from like right where I'm standing, they panned over those apartments, and you could see just above it just a giant plume of smoke, and then to the giant towers of smoke and fire you could see billowing here, and then zoomed in on the reporter, which was standing on that sidewalk there. So yeah, I'd like to get a little footage of that, since it's just literally right here in my neighborhood. Haven't looked online to see if I can find that, but I'll try to link it when I post this. Oh shit, there goes a dog. Oh no, that's a coyote. I'm pretty sure that's a coyote. Could be wrong, but I think that was a coyote just wandering through the neighborhood. And it's probably going to find itself a cat. Everybody's got to eat. They usually don't show up here this time of day. In fact, they don't usually, and there's some more irrigation going on over there. In fact, the coyotes usually don't quite make it this far south, but I've seen them on this street before. It's not the first time, but I gotta say that I think that's the first time I've ever seen a coyote cross Oak Street in the daytime, and doing it so boldly that at first glance you'd think it was some random stray dog. So whether the houses that burned yesterday were vacant or not, I really can't answer that. As I said, I'm sure I've walked or driven down Monte Vista at some point in my life, but that's not a street I regularly walk down. Now Oak, which is the next street to the north, I walk up and down Oak all the time. The next street directly to the south, which is where I said I thought it was, near 42nd. I was just, from what video I'd seen, I was thinking it was near 42nd Street. And Palm Lane, I got a whole bunch of stuff in front of their property. Dang. Nice vet. Yeah, I walk up and down Palm all the time. I vlog myself walking on both of these streets quite frequently. The space between Palm and Oak, for the most part, you can't walk across because you've got that large apartment complex on the other side of the wall, on the other side of those trees there, which I think is Arcadia Cove. There is an entrance there, which, interestingly enough, the gates are open. They're not usually open, which there's no signage on that entrance. All the signage is on 44th Street, further south of here. And of course, that signage, that area, that's where the office entrance is, and the front entrance, so to speak. There's another house, looks like it's in the process of being flipped. There's kind of a look that seems to go on all the houses that get flipped these days of off-white or off-white paint, black trim, dark gray or black roof, roofing tiles type roof, and there's just certain font that everybody's using for their address numbers nowadays. It's kind of weird. It's like somebody does the research and like, this is what people want, and then all the houses being currently flipped at that point in time are being done that same way. It's almost weird when you walk down the street how the style of the house, as far as the address numbers and the color and the style of trim and whatnot, is almost a snapshot of roughly what year that particular house was last flipped, because most people seem to keep their houses, however they are once they buy them. I like that one. Although honestly, if I owned that house, I would probably try to convert that carport into an enclosed garage, because I like garages. But I dig that. It's the exposed natural brick. I kind of like the windows obstructed by the hedges. And my God, is that corn? They have a straight up cornfield growing on the side of their house. That's awesome. And that's another thing that it takes that block that's all full for the quarter mile between here and here on Oak and Palm Lane. You've got the big extended stay hotel. And a lot of people that could, depending on your definition of homeless, be considered homeless living there, which is really sad. I mean, I don't know what it costs a week to live there, but I've heard, $500 plus. Sometimes you get a working couple. They're there, and they can't get a lease on an apartment because it's so difficult to lease an apartment nowadays. I mean, you got to show. I hear a lot of places you've got to show proof of income of 3 times the rental amount. Well, if the rental amount is average rental for a 1-bedroom apartment in Phoenix now, it's about $1,500. So, I mean, do the math. 1,500 times 3, 1,500 times 2 is 3,000. Put another 15 on that. You're looking at $4,500 a month. I don't know anybody that makes $4,500 a month. I've never in my life made anything even remotely near $4,500 a month. And a lot of people say, well, get a roommate. Sure, that's not such an easy thing to do. That's not such an easy living arrangement either. And again, that's the average price for a 1-bedroom apartment. So generally speaking, the only kind of roommate you want in a 1-bedroom apartment is someone you're sleeping with and shacking up with. And I get a feeling there's a lot of resentment that Priscilla has for me, that that's the arrangement she had, and that by me forcing her to move out of my apartment, which I never gave her permission to move into, that caused her to have to rent her own place. Now she chose a 2-bedroom place and has not got a roommate. I definitely understood her reasoning for getting a 2-bedroom. She had a storage unit that she was putting quite a bit of money on, and from what she said, the price difference between a 1-bedroom and a 2-bedroom was less than what she was spending in storage a month, and she was able to liquidate pull everything out of her storage and put it into her place. Consequently, her place is crazy cluttered. And to be honest, that's probably something I should be trying to do, because I spend way too much a month on storage, and I hardly even go to my storage units anymore. So, but my place is already cluttered. Anyway, I'm going into the QT to get myself something to drink. I am crazy thirsty, and I didn't eat much last night. Somebody on a 1-wheel and a Saturn parked in the background. The Saturn was pulled in when I rolled up. That looks really clean too. I would say probably like a 99, 2000, 2001 from the body style. Looks like an SL1. Dark tinted windows. That is a really clean looking Saturn. In fact, it's one of the most clean looking Saturns I've seen in a minute. Guy in the 1-wheel, he was over by the soda fountain when I was. I really would love to try to learn how to ride one of those. It seems like everybody that has those just loves riding them and has a blast, but I'm sure I couldn't do what I'm doing right now with one of those. In fact, I'm shooting vertical video because I can't even walk with a horizontally held cell phone and do what I'm doing, and that's carrying 2 drinks and a couple taquitos. Yeah, they usually, I think it's like $1.19 for a 32-ounce fountain drink at QT, which is quite a bit more expensive than 7-Eleven and a little bit more expensive than Circle K. Although I'm on foot right now, so I'm not walking a mile or 2 miles out of my way to save 50 cents. It's just not happening. I mean, it's probably only in like the mid 90s right now. It's still hotter. As the sun is brutal, and as you see, the skies are clear. The sun is just beating down on me right now. Still, of course, I've been trying to keep the homeless people out of this part of the park. I'm still seeing somebody's back of garbage there. Well, I gotta give Phoenix police props. They seem to have finally succeeded in eradicating the non-stop fentanyl party that used to happen right there at that end of the Costco building. And I don't see anybody else camping along the side of the Costco building either, which there've been quite a lot of recently. In fact, I don't really see anybody loitering in the park at all. Now, I would imagine the heat might have something to do with that. It could be a lot of the homeless people, or a lot of them are transient and travel. And this is the time of year where you want to get to, if you're a transient homeless type, well, we've still got a shopping cart abandoned just on its side. Can't really tell where that one came from. But yeah, you get a lot of the people that are just chronically homeless, and they'll drift. And yeah, this is the time of year to get the hell out of Phoenix and go to nicer climates, whether that nicer climate is, Seattle or Portland or San Diego. So I didn't really talk much about, wow. See, now this is the problem. Here we have evidence where somebody's been burning stuff here. What's that about? Why was that done? Leaving their trash under the tree, leaving their trash there. If all homeless people camped with the ethics of the Boy Scouts of pack out what you pack in, leave no trace. I think if more homeless people had that mentality and that ethic, society in general would probably frown on them less. But yeah, it's disheartening to see trash like that left behind in the park. Especially when you consider that there's a trash can and a recycling bin right there next to the tree. So, yeah. So I was mentioning lunch yesterday. I did eat lunch at St. Vincent de Paul's. It was a damn good lunch. Actually, one of the better meals I've had in recent memory. I'm sure my digestive system is appreciating the break from Taco Bell. But yeah, I got it was like a plate with spaghetti that was really meaty. Like it was a very meaty meat, tomato sauce, very meaty. Like they put a lot of ground beef in it, and substantially more meat than spaghetti. So that's pretty cool. And more meat than pasta. Also had some kind of seemed like a boiled vegetable mix consisting of squash and some other stuff. And I'm not sure how they had it seasoned, but it sure tasted good to me. It was a refreshing change and not something I regularly get to eat. And then a sourdough roll with it. So not a huge meal or anything, but it definitely hit the spot yesterday. And at this point, every meal I'm not spending cash on is a good thing. I mean, I think of that one Caleb Hammer video where he's just ripping into this guy who's massively in debt, who's making very little money. And that guy had a lot bigger problems than just this. But one of the things that they started arguing about was how much money he spent every week on taquitos. Like, there's this recurring charge at a certain amount at 7-Eleven that was constantly popping up on the guy's checking account as Caleb's going through it. For 7-Eleven, he's like, well, what's this constant charge for 7-Eleven? That's definitely not gas. That's not enough to be gas. He goes, oh, I just stop there and I get taquitos. And yeah, there I am with my gas station taquitos. And yeah, 2 for $3.50. That's not particularly a good value in food. I mean, I'm getting it because I know I'm right on the verge of hunger pains, and that was literally the only spot that was on the way on my walk home. But yeah, So being able to eat a meal over at St. Vincent de Paul certainly helps offset the price of having to have a meal that's QT taquitos. Anyways, I was just going to mention, so QT's like typically $1.19 plus tax for a 32-ounce fountain drink. And they got some deal that I've never seen before, must be a new thing, where it's two 32 ounces, or what they call the big Q, for 232 ounces for $2. So kind of encouraging people to buy two. I think in most instances people are, not rolling solo. They're rolling with a friend or rolling with a kid or significant other, what have you. And so they're buying two anyway. So that's a good deal. But, it certainly encouraged me spending a little bit more. It's 20 is the price difference, 20 cents on each times two. So, hey, that's 40 cents. There's that 50 cents that I didn't walk, 2 miles to save. That kind of that almost breaks me even on that. But yeah, I got that. I made a point to get it with no ice in it. That's the XXX acai pomegranate, and I forget what the other flavor is. Vitamin water. But yeah, I can without the ice, I can certainly put that in the fridge. It's an uncarbonated drink, and it'll there's a quart of cold beverage, refreshing beverage ready for me in the refreshing beverage for me in the fridge. That's a good thing. Hey, kitties. They just both went in opposite directions. You're funny, Sheila. Recycling bin. That I didn't buy the orange juice. I just saw my TV flicker. Was doing that a bit yesterday too. I'm sure that's not the TV. I'm sure it's something to do with my computer, but it's not a good sign. And piles of Allison's stuff there on the couch. So I still haven't heard from her. I finally dug through my call log to find her boyfriend. I feel like I should use air quotes with the term boyfriend, but the guy she was living with in Portland. I finally dug up his number. Felt kind of awkward about talking to him, talking to him. But Priscilla called him from my phone since we found him in the call log. Oh, and by the way, I've completely lost the stupid controller to this light. So at one point I turned them on and they're doing that annoying ass thing. Oh, at this point I'm just... Stop. Stop with that. Let's climb across the bed and just open the damn blinds. And let a little natural light in here. Oh, yes, that's better. Okay, I'm kind of tempted to drop the needle on the killers right now. That'd be nice. Of course, Priscilla's waiting for me to get back to her place with my vehicle. I told her I'd help her run some errands, but she doesn't walk like I walk, and that wasn't a long walk, but I did add an extra half mile to it by going to see where the fires were. And it's the not only does the heat take it out of me, but the direct sunlight takes it out of me. Like, I'm feeling a little sweaty, I'm feeling a little, the Mountain Dew hitting the spot right now. Yeah, like that's a lot to, I need a moment. I'm not just jumping in the car and driving back out in that heat. I need a moment to kind of cool off and refresh from it. I noticed Priscilla's been shut, like, quite frequently. She shuts her air conditioning completely off and then turns on ceiling fans. Fans and blowing air is something that has always been a real irritant to me. It's something that I'm just get super edgy and uncomfortable, and And I've always wondered, like, why that freaks me out so much. Like, sometimes if I'm sitting directly in front of a fan, like, it'll rattle me to the point where I just can't think of anything else other than just, can this air stop assaulting me? Like, and since Allison kind of got me into learning about autism spectrum disorder and sensitivity issues, like, suddenly all that stuff made sense to me. Hi, I fed you guys late last night before I rolled out. It ain't time yet. I'll go in there and check your water, though, in a minute. They didn't have me here last night, so they're probably a little lonely. So, heard you the first time, Sambo. All right. So inside QT, I saw something that a guy that was at the soda fountain who was just had that look of random homeless dude. And, oh, yikes. That black looks like it might be mold. Oh, yeah, no, that's no good. That just needs to be in the garbage. Yikes. Anyhow, he had one of these gallon jugs that was Arizona green tea. And he had it at the soda fountain. I forget which beverage, but he was completely filling this thing with something from the soda fountain. And I'm thinking to myself, damn, since when that just struck me as something that, like, somebody shouldn't be doing. Like, really? Because, of course, I'm trying to get into that part of the soda fountain. And, of course, he's there for quite a while. So it's just like, it's like, wow, how long do I got to wait for this deadbeat to quit filling his fucking gallon jug? And then I'm looking above the soda fountain where they list all the prices and stuff. And they actually have, the prices for refills when you fill your own container. And there it was, right in front of me, up to 1 gallon. And I think the price was like $1.79 or something. And it never occurred, like, wow, that's actually a legit option. This guy isn't doing anything wrong. Something that seems like it should be wrong, but no, there's the price. There's the price for what he's filling right there, $1.79. And it never, until that moment, ever occurred to me that just seems like something you shouldn't be allowed to do. It never occurred to me that would be something to do. And so I'm not going to be filling that gallon jug. I'm not even trying to clean that mold out of there. That just went directly in the bin. But yeah, that's a pretty economical way to have cold beverages in the fridge. While I'm kind of waiting for more places to get back to me and actually put me to work. I do think maybe if nothing goes through by Wednesday, I might head back to that, depending on how much gas Priscilla puts in my vehicle. Of course, now's not a good time for me to be asking me or to put gas in the vehicle, considering I didn't put any gas in her vehicle when I drove it all the way to K-Power, or to Williams-Sonoma a few weeks ago. Although, I mean, I literally told her that I would fill it the next day. And my plans were to take it to Costco and fill it, on my credit card the next day. The fact that she denied me the use of the vehicle the next day, 2 hours before what time I told her I needed it. I mean, okay, miscommunication or whatever. But my God, even if she did misunderstand what I was saying, you think she would be, a good partner would be bending over backward to try to take care of that and accommodate that. At least that's how I feel. I mean, my wife and I got by for almost 2 years of functional marriage with one vehicle, and we tried our best to communicate and be aware of each other's schedules and transportation needs and make that work. And granted, I mean, that's her vehicle. It's not my vehicle, so it's not like she has an obligation to do that for me. But she was well aware that my vehicle was not working and that I had a job. And I don't know, I think part of it was the way that I said that I could work overtime as as opposed to being that I need to work overtime. And did I get fired from missing that overtime shift? No. In fact, I had told management that there was a good chance that I might not be there for that shift, and they were fine with that. That wasn't the issue. The issue was that, I lost roughly $175 worth of income by not being there. And where the hell does Priscilla think this gas money is going to come from? Anyway, am I still bitter about that? Yeah, I guess I kind of am. I dig the Killers. It's going to make a copyright match, but I don't think it'll get me blocked. And do I regret spending money on records? Hey, I didn't know I was going to lose my job, and maybe I should have been squirreling more of that money away and spending less on records. Maybe I should have, but I don't know. I try not to regret spending money on records. And at least that one's got a pretty decent amount. I would imagine it's got a pretty good resale value. Not that I intend to flip it anytime soon. It's kind of such a good album. Not a bad song on this one at all. This is, I don't know, if I was to make a list of the 50 best debut albums of all times, this one would probably land somewhere in the 20s or 30s on that list. Welcome back, YouTube. Oh man, I did it again. I forgot the sunshade, and my steering wheel is like freaking on fire. Yikes. Man, at some point I gotta figure out what the hell I'm doing with that Benz, because I need that covered parking for this car. Holy shit. Dang, steering wheel is like, I think it's supposed to get up to 113 today. And as I was saying earlier, a lot of times it's not even about the temperature, it's about the direct sunlight. So I got the sun coming through my windshield, just hitting my steering wheel, which has got a black steering wheel cover on it. I'm like driving, just kind of tapping the wheel because it's physically burning my hands to touch it right now. Oh, man, I wish there were trees like this one all over the neighborhood. Like that would be awesome. I would just park on the street if I could park under a tree that gave that kind of shade. But while this neighborhood does have a lot of mature trees, as you can see, most of them are set far enough back in people's yard that they don't really offer any shade on the side of the road. I look, there's the shade look at the shade line on the trees as I go through here. Like it just barely hits the curb, but it doesn't get any shade. Doesn't get any shade for the road, doesn't get any shade for the pedestrians. I want to say for the sidewalk, but that street has no sidewalk. Yeah, that big shuttle vehicle is still there. Man, ZipRecruiter just hit me with a job yesterday, and I didn't even bother to. It had one of those, like, some of the applications on ZipRecruiter, the whoever put in, looking to do the hiring can put in a short questionnaire. Oh, and there's a question in that which cracks me up, and I've been wanting to kind of go on a rant about it, but I'll get to that. But yeah, so they can put in a questionnaire, and the very first question, well, I looked at the job description, and I thought, I should apply for it anyway. But they're asking for, it said minimum 3 years shuttle type driving, 3 year shuttle type driving experience, which to me is really crazy. Like, generally speaking, like driving is driving. Like, is driving a shuttle such a specific thing? Are you kidding me? And how many people are going to stay into something like that for 3+ years? So that seems like a pretty unreasonable thing to ask for experience. Since CDL not required but preferred, you don't need a CDL to drive something like that. And
mean, hell, not much bigger than a typical pickup truck these days. But yeah, Arizona doesn't require a CDL for driving one of those. But anyway, I looked at that and I'm thinking, yeah, I don't have that. The other thing is this must have a perfect driving record. And I just got in the background check, I got back for the one through Crim Check, which is for the job over at the rental car place. Oddly enough, it didn't flag any of my criminal stuff, but it showed they only went back to a certain date, and all my stuff was like way before that date. But they did put kind of a red flag on my driver's license, and it shows I've got 4 points off my license. It shows 2 moving violations, which is what I've been telling people they are. One for failure to stop and one for an unsafe lane change. Interestingly enough, doesn't flag any accidents. It says 0 accidents, which is a good thing, even though it's cops not checking the right boxes on the tickets. But the big kicker is that it has the one thing that it showed, the Crim background check showed, which to me was a little disturbing, is it shows every time I've had an Arizona driver's license issued and canceled. And going back to like 1992, like to me that just seems crazy. Like I get a driver's record, like even a certified MVR only goes back 5 years, but this shit goes back to 1992. So it shows, it just makes it look like I've had my license suspended a lot. And I guess if you go all the way back to 92, I have had it suspended a lot. And it's always been for stupid shit. Super minor ticket, sometimes as much for something as subtle as a parking ticket that didn't get paid, or something in a system, I mean, I think one time it might have been suspended over child support, but it doesn't show why it was suspended. It just shows how many times it's been suspended over the years. So I can see where that could be a red flag. I'm surprised that information is available. That doesn't seem like something that should be publicly available, anything beyond a 5-year MVR. But suddenly there it is. CrimCheck was able to get that from Arizona MVR, or Department of Motor Vehicles. It's the MVD at Arizona, the Motor Vehicle Division. But anyway, the first question on their survey, by the way, the reason I'm mentioning this particular job, and I forget who it was for, but the reason I'm mentioning this particular one is that they were offering that they were paying $1,000 a week. Oh my Lord, if I could make $1,000 a week, like that would just be life-changing. But obviously I'm not good enough for that, or anything that'll pay me $1,000 a week. At least not that I'm aware of. If anybody has any suggestions for that shit in the comments, I would appreciate some referrals and links. And the question I wanted to go on a vent about, and I really need to go to Priscilla. She's probably getting I'm wondering why it's taken me so long to get back there. But one of the questions that frequently shows up on most of those surveys is, do you have reliable transportation to the job location? But it doesn't tell you, that's the question. It doesn't show you the job location. It doesn't say, do you have reliable transportation to and an address? It just says, do you have, without giving you the disclosure of where the job location is, it says, do you have reliable transportation to the job location? Which, of course, the only answer you're ever going to answer that with is yes, because you say no, you've just disqualified yourself as an applicant. But I like to be honest with the answers to questions. And how can I answer if I have reliable transportation to an unknown location? It's asinine. It's an absolutely ridiculous thing. And maybe I should provide some feedback in some way to ZipRecruiter about that, of like, hey, do you realize how flawed that is? Because, I mean, to something within a mile radius of where I live, but I have no way of knowing if this job's within a mile radius of where I live. Do I have reliable transportation? Yeah, I got my motherfucking legs. They work just fine. If something's within about a 5-mile radius, do I have reliable transportation? Yeah, I can fix one of my electric scooters and make it within a 5-mile radius. Do I have reliable transportation to something that's on Thomas Road? Man, anything that's on Thomas Road, no matter where it is on Thomas Road, I can get to it. Pretty much ditto for McDowell Road. The bus is reliable to get me up and down McDowell or up and down Thomas. But yeah, it makes a difference. And I understand that what they're really asking is, do you have a good car? But you know, that's not fair. That's not fair. There are reliable modes of transportation other than do have a good car. And maybe if y'all were all, maybe if everybody was paying $1,000 a week,